the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Welcome to an all-new Build Out live stream. You can join the stream every Wednesday at noon Eastern Daylight Time. The stream will be starting in just 1 minute. In the meantime, let me take this opportunity to talk about the graphic design platform that I use to create the social media graphics, overlays, and studio graphics for the Build Out series. Canva is both an online platform for your desktop and laptop, and also offers an app for smartphones and tablets. With the Canva graphic design platform, you can easily create social media, presentations, posters, documents, and other visual and video content. While there is a free version, Canva is best when using the affordable Canva Pro subscription and Canva Enterprise. So if you want to build out your social media and visual content, you need to use Canva. I'll make it easy for you to sign up. Just use a referral link provided on this stream's event post or in the video description with this stream's recorded posted to my YouTube channel. Okay, now let's get this Build Out live stream started. Today on Build Out, my guest is Joe Professori from Regal Industrial. Joe and I will have a conversation on the topic of partnering with your customers to increase sales. Okay, let's get the conversation with Joe started. Welcome to Build Out with Jim Kunkel. Joining me today is Joe Professori from Regal Industrial. Joe, welcome.
Thank you, Jim. Appreciate being on.
Hey, Joe, before we get into the topic about partnering with your customers to increase your sales, could you provide a little background about yourself professionally, and then talk a little bit about Regal Industrial? There will be some viewers that might not know about Regal or have limited knowledge on what Regal does in the industrial painting sector.
Yeah, I've been in sales and marketing now for over 35 years. I don't believe I've ever sold anything in my life, Jim. I think that I solve a lot of problems, and I go in, and my forte is really to create a disturbance and put our best foot forward there out in the social media and marketing world.
And Regal Industrial, a little background about Regal.
Yeah, Regal Industrial is an industrial coating surface preparation company. We've had extreme success in the past couple of years. We're starting to open up our sixth shop out in Pekin, Illinois. We have one down in Millville, New Jersey that just opened this year. I don't ever think we're going to open two ever again at the same time. It is quite a bit of work, but we're an industrial coater. We're the best when it comes to metallizing. I don't think there's a competitor out there that is even close to the skill level that we possess.
Yeah, and the thing for the viewers, Regal does field painting work on the industrial side. You do have blast and paint shop locations. You also have the ability to do some fabrication and repair as well. And then obviously the big thing is the metallizing. You can do metallizing pretty much anywhere.
Right.
So, Joe, let's talk about what businesses and industries are going through right now when it comes to general stresses and challenges with the supply chain, material shortages, also transportation issues. And then the big thing is going to be with the skilled labor shortage that's going on right now. Now, obviously, you're not going to be talking about what Regal's Industrial is currently experiencing because you are on a growth mode. You're opening up new locations and everything like that. But you travel with your partner. And I know you're going to talk about your partner, and I want you to talk about your partner. But you travel a lot. You're a road warrior. You're out there all the time. So you're seeing and you're hearing and you're experiencing what's going on out there. Talk a little bit about what you see out there.
Yeah, obviously, Blue and I travel well over 100,000 miles a year. We believe that getting in front of the customer is obviously paramount to our situation and our growth. But what we're seeing out there from the road, if you will, is There's folks that are having a very difficult time hiring people. A lot of labor shortages. I won't say there are labor shortages as people who are looking for work. There are people who are completely the skill levels are just not there. So to go out and try to bring someone into the organization that doesn't have the skill level or try to teach them that particular role is not the easiest challenge in the world.
And then could you cover a little bit about who your travel partner is, Blue?
Yeah, Blue is my 2017 Ford Explorer. He came to life when we went down to Norfolk, and I happened to be driving along 64, and I took a picture of a battleship that we were looking at, and it was coming over the tunnel, and so by the time I got to Philadelphia, I was leaving Norfolk to go to Philadelphia, we had over 10,000 people who had viewed us, and by the time I got to Philadelphia, we were over 1 million, and I'll say by the time I got to New York, we had 1 million, and it started to go crazy, and folks were saying, "Oh my God, you have a partner now," and how that all occurred was in the message that I put in there, just kind of said Blue and I, because you could see the blue of the hood of the car. And it really, really just kind of snowballed from there. People taking pictures with Blue and sending them to me. And it just got to be where it was no way we could not utilize Blue in our travels, in our business approach, and a mascot was born.
So I highly encourage everyone after the stream is over to go to Joe Professori's LinkedIn profile, take a look, and you will see a lot of information regarding Blue, and also get to know the story of Blue as well. So Joe, it's great to see you and Blue out there on the road.
Yeah, we also have a link on our website that's the true story of Blue. So feel free to check that out at regalindustrial.com.
Excellent. So some of the other things too that I wanted to talk a little bit about are some of the other challenges that are happening. And when we talk about challenges, they are obstacles, but they're not fatal. There are ways to deal with these current situations when it comes to raw material shortages, supply chain interruptions, transportation, the skilled labor. There's ways to deal with it. And obviously partnering with your customers is a big, important element of that. But the other element that's going on right now is we have inflation that's rising. And recently, an article came out that the coating manufacturers, and I also know with steel and other types of materials, prices have gone up. So the inflation that's hitting the consumer side is hitting on the business and the industrial side. I'm sure you've seen and experienced some price increases here recently, correct?
Right. Absolutely.
The other thing, too, that can cause some challenges and obstacles are the increasing amounts of federal and state and local regulations. And again, those are things that are going to be challenges. They are going to be obstacles, but there are ways to overcome them. And you have to be able to be adaptable as a business. Joe, is there anything that I didn't mention or we didn't talk about here related to some of the challenges that you're seeing out there?
Yeah, some of the challenges that you see, obviously, there's transportation challenges. I mean, there's multiple challenges. I think that if I'm looking at it from, and I know we weren't going to look at it from a Regal point of view, but from a Regal point of view, we started to add companies, add-ons like our Iron Valley Tank and Plate, like Iron Valley Transport. Having your own transportation company puts you in a totally different category as the rest of your competitors. And you can actually win jobs. You can move things around a little bit easier, and no pun intended there with the transportation. Your ability to fully service the customer is really beyond anybody's capability once you have those other add-ons in place.
Excellent. Let's move on to talking about, tips on how to partner with your customers. Now, these aren't in any particular order, and we're not going to be talking about getting into, legal agreements and partnership agreements and business arrangements like that. The first thing that's really, I think, key right now, especially in the age we are right now with online presence, branding. We're currently coming out of a pandemic. A lot of people jumped online. They were working remotely. So we had more face time when it comes to our laptops, our computers, and Zoom calls and things like that. Partnering with your customers when it comes to content. Now, when I talk about partnering with your customers on content, your customers have a marketing team that is trying to, again, work on the branding. They're going to work on marketing materials, but they're trying to get their information out there as well. Right. You, as a vendor to the customer or a partner with the customer, you're also looking to get your message out, but you're also like to highlight these are some of the customers we're working with. So that can manifest from co-authoring papers, maybe doing articles, doing joint presentations at trade conferences. And then the other thing is getting into where we're kind of talking about more here, related to this program and other programs, is the broadcast aspect of it, podcast, webcast, and things like that.
Right.
Is for Regal, and again for yourself, you have a strong opinion when it comes to the broadcasting and the podcasting and webcast and everything like that. Could you talk a little bit more about your belief and your philosophy around that aspect?
Yeah. Obviously, if you don't talk about yourself in this industry, you don't get talked about at all unless it's something bad. We take an approach where we're going to be kind of guerrilla marketing. We're going to be in your face all the time. I think it's our personality, more so my personality, since I'm responsible for it. I want to have fun. I want to get out there and see people. If you want to stay on Zoom calls the rest of your life, more power to you. But let me tell you, I'm going to be sitting in front of them. And that's the way it is. I'm not worried about a pandemic. I've had this 3 times. I don't want to get into my personal medical history, but I'm moving. And if you're not in the car doing it, you're not simply keeping up with what the market's doing. So you either have a choice: get in the car or pretend that your Zoom call's doing something. I feel that the more information that's out there about you, the better things are. Obviously, we take a strategic point of view in that. Use a lot of artificial intelligence to do those things. There's a lot of things that we do as an industrial coder that has never happened in our industry before. We were using different programs, and I'm not going to go through those programs, but I can tell you that when I go to the trade show, I'll be hitting everyone's cell phone. Everyone in the trade show, I'll be hitting them. When it comes to the radio spots, we are putting those out there right now. So we're going to make the biggest disturbance or the biggest attention-grabbing situation that we possibly can.
Well, I think to look at it this way, you want a blended approach. Obviously, you want to have that field approach and be on the road and face-to-face grip and grinning and everything like that. But also, too, in addition to that, you're talking about with the AI, there is so much technology, and in the industry that we work in together, it's behind the curve when it comes to the digital integration. So kind of what you're looking at is that evolutionary step that has to happen for companies. Regal's taking advantage of that, and I commend you and Regal for taking that leap into content, being pinpoint when it comes to information, and then also targeting when you're using the AI. The other thing, too, that I will point out is that when you are not only providing content and information to customers, there might be opportunities to partner with them when it comes to reviews and other type of testimonials as well, depending on what type of products and services that they have that you're supporting. Right. Another step, too, that I think is critical is cultivating relationships. And what I mean by that is that your customers have customers. There's going to be a percentage of their customers that are not your traditional customers or will never be your customers. Help them make connections to get new business. And that shows them that, hey, you really care about my business as much as you care about my business that I'm giving to you. Right. And if you can help them grow, it's going to help that relationship grow and that partnership develop. When it comes to, helping out customers, what are some of the things that you would recommend for helping them out?
Well, there's multiple things that they can do to help their customers out. Number one, strictly tell them the truth. Give them exactly right between the eyes, exactly what you're going to be doing. Number two, don't make it, if you tell them it's going to be done on Thursday, be done on Thursday. And that comes down to the efficacy of the organization. And I'm in a unique position because I am, if you want to call it, the face of this organization. I am the person that they see, and I will not go against. If I tell you Thursday, it's Thursday. So one of the things that they can do to help situations is to simply understand their business more than you understand your own. Understand what their problems are. Solve problems. Stop trying to sell. Don't just sit there and wait for someone to stop talking so that you can begin. Understand their problems in their entirety. Get out there and go the extra distance. I can't tell you how many times Blue and I have been a delivery service where we've had a couple of projects where I actually put the little piece, this happened to be the size of about a bread basket, so I put it in the back of the car and took it to the customer because I was going to New York. Why ship it? Be personal in what you're trying to do. Understand what it is as far as transportation. Solve that problem. If it's a painting situation and you're worried about it, bring them on down to the shop. Let them see it. Let them touch it. This is show and tell out here. Let them understand what it is that you're all about. And, we're a family organization at Regal. We do things as a family. So when you become a business partner, because I hate the word customer. Customer implies that, there is some kind of space in between us. You're a family member when you come here to Regal. That's the way it is. You're an employee, you're a family member. You're a business partner, you're a family member. That's what we promote all the time. And that's what's starting to spread out there.
Yeah, I can see why Regal now is opening up multiple locations because of that attitude and the gratitude's flowing both ways. So it's good to see that. One other recommendation that I always have for companies or contacts that will reach out to me saying, what are ways that I can work with my customers? And one is to find a mutual charity and to work together. In fact, you see that on LinkedIn. You'll see some of the roofing contractors work with different charities, and they'll raise money for the Ronald McDonald House, or they'll do a food bank drive, or they'll do a blood drive. There are different charities out there that can help really solidify a partnership between you and your customer, because it's a good thing to do to help give money to charities and help people out. Sure. Is there any particular, in your experience or your history, has there been any charity events that you've worked with customers on?
Yeah, we just did Aqua Life with Aquatech. We went out, had a little charity golf outing, and it was at the golf pavilion over there in Bridgeville, Pennsylvania, and really a great time. Had a nice dinner, got to speak with everyone. I even won I won 3 prizes there. So we spent some money and had a lot of fun. Great team building. You get to sit with your other teammates, and you not only get to talk to another company on a whole different level, but you obviously get to share your teammates and get to spend time with them and get to know them outside of the facility. But charity events, I mean, you're making money. Obviously, you need to give back, and it's a situation that can really, move you from one parameter over to another.
Yeah, I think it's a win-win because it shows that you're thinking more than just the sale. You're thinking more just the revenue. But for social media, those posts tend to do very well, and it's great for the branding. And also when it comes to collaboration with your customers, because now your branding and their branding's together. And I really like that aspect of it. Another area too, that I know you practice this, and it's a belief that I have too. It's the same belief I have, is that you routinely really want to conduct brainstorming sessions with your customers. In other words, you want to go to their site, go to their office, go regionally if they're pulling, for example, for me, engineers, you might have an engineering outfit that will have a retreat, and they're going there to learn, they're going to reset, retool themselves. If it's an opportunity for you to participate in that event, take advantage of that, because that's another great partnering opportunity. What are your thoughts related to the brainstorming sessions?
Yeah, we do quite a bit of it. Obviously, when you start to treat your customer, I hate that word, and treat them like business partners, and starting to understand that you're both collectively making money. You're not going out there and it's not like you just walk out and say, well, I'm going to make all the money and it's going to be me and nobody else. It's not that way. In today's business world, you're going to have to, as I said earlier, you're going to have to understand their business the same as you understand your own. You're going to have to understand what the problems are, weed those problems out. And the only way for you to do that is to understand them as people. Understand, and there's teams just like we have guys who panic, we have guys who don't panic. How are they related? How are those aspects of personality? How are you going to deal with those people? How are you going to understand those people? How are you going to put together and prioritize their projects? And what are you going to do to make, and this is before the project even comes in, are you ready to accept their project and start and then take it from a start to finish situation? Or are there going to be breaks in between based on the fact, and I'm obviously talking about a Regal point of view now, or are the projects going to come in separated on trucks? I'm going to get 5 truckloads, and then I'm going to get nothing for 2 weeks, and then I'm going to get 10 truckloads behind it. Much easier if I get all 15 of those trucks up front, I can get them through the system and out the door. So you've got to educate your people as well as understand them. You have to pull them along and get them to maneuver themselves in the same direction that you're moving as an organization.
I remember my first $1 million order, and that order came about from working, collaborating with a major manufacturer and a component that had to be made. In the process of meeting with that manufacturer, again, doing the brainstorming sessions, it came out that there was a third-party fabricator that could be involved related to helping for demand. So as their demand increased, what turned out to be a $1 million order turned to be a duplicate order for that third party. And so it turned out to be ultimately a $2 million order.
Right.
By meeting with that customer, I was able to really figure out exactly what they were looking to do. But I believe truly in that opportunity that they might have gone out, instead of sourcing it through me, they might have gone out and looked for some other type of competitive bids. I'm not saying they did not look at competitive pricing, but I had a strong chance to get that second order, and it did work out that way, luckily.
Right.
Another area too to focus on would be, and I've seen this a lot recently, is focusing on customer on-site events. We have a lot of manufacturers out there that will do hosted buying events, but we also have industrial companies and other companies that do events where they will invite customers. What has been your experience with some of these hosted events?
Yeah, I would say, that we participate in a lot of events that go on. I mean, everywhere. So whether that be a conference event, whether that be an event that's while you're in a conference, dinners, golf, a number of things. I mean, there are ways to understand and get to know people better and better. And it really comes down to, you have to be a people person. You have to understand them. You have to like them for who they are. And that's not a fake thing. That's you just can't fake that in any way. You have a genuine love for people that comes out all the time. You can't stop that. But as far as the events go, one of our philosophies here is obviously to get in the way, so to speak. So if you're a company out in Chicago and you're moving over towards, let's just say, North Carolina, we're in the way. We're in Pekin. We're in Pittsburgh. We're in Allentown. We're in Millville. We're down in Norfolk. So we're in the way, and getting to know those folks and trying to make the world a lot smaller. I know everyone says, "Oh, it's a big, big place," but from a business point of view, it's really, really small. And to try to talk to all those people is a little tough, or try to drive all those places, and Blue will tell you it's a little tough, but it is something that you have to do, and you cannot do that on a Zoom call. It just can't be done. And I've seen it. I've watched it. I think a lot of our growth has come from the fact that we are out and we're participating in those events while others are at home.
One other area too that I will add related to that with the events is that depending on the customer that you're working with, or let's say sector or of customers, if they are federal, state, local employees from federal agencies, you have to be very mindful that there could be conflict of interest. So some of those events could be viewed as gifts and things. So you kind of want to tailor it depending on, to your point earlier, maybe it's something that's done at a golf event that's already there, a conference or something like that where you're doing. But just be mindful too that there could be some conflict of interest, and always talk with your customers before you look to plan anything, because you'd hate to plan something and then have it kind of fall apart in the end because it's viewed as a conflict of interest. After the attorneys, I always love when attorneys look at stuff and then they find all the stuff that negates what you're trying to do. Joe, let's move on to our final topic, which is the importance of building partnerships. And, Bain & Company report, it showed that repeat customers spend 67% more than new customers. Mm-hmm. How critical is it to maintain a strong relationship with your existing customers, since they really provide so much of revenue to your annual cause?
Well, and they do. It's very important to what we're trying to do. Staying in communication without being overbearing in any way. You walk a very fine line in this world where you obviously can talk to people, you can email people, you can text people. There's a million different ways to get in front of someone. But when is that line stepped over? And that really is an important point. I do believe that keeping up with your current people and making sure that they're happy, your business partners are happy, is where you need to be. But I'm also a guy that looks at you need to keep planting the crop, so to speak. You need to keep moving outward, especially on a growth situation like we are here at Regal. You know, we're jumping into new areas, new territories, new countries. I mean, we're getting into things that you have to pay attention, but you also have to keep expanding. If you're not expanding, you're dying. And if you did the same amount you did last year, with taxes, you've actually lost money. So that's the way we see things. So I would tell you that some of the things that we do are some of the topics we already talked about: getting out in front of them, charity events, understand to see them at trade shows, knowing who they are. How many times do I see guys walk up and like, who is that guy again? I have no idea who he is. You've got to remember people, and you got to have a good memory for that. And I think that getting out there and understanding them, and when you have a customer that comes to you and says, listen, you guys are getting all of our business, not only everything you do industrial wise as far as your coatings, but we're also going to utilize your trucking company completely. And that's happened to more than a few customers that we have right now.
Yeah, the longstanding business belief is that it is easy to lose an existing customer. It's hard to keep them. And you have to focus very intently, but you have to have a plan in place as well and a strategy. Because if you can increase 5, even 10% more business from them, if they're not giving you totally everything they have, it's going to be very impactful on your bottom line. The other thing, too, that's the truth in business is that there could be a long cycle and a major investment in time, money, and effort to get a new customer on board. So if you can balance out existing customers and new customers coming in, that really was what's going to push you over the profitability goals that you're looking to achieve every year. And to your point, the only way to do that is to stay active, interact with the customers, new prospects, but also partner with them as well.
Right.
Now, that involves, this is an area that I feel is super important, but sometimes overlooked: communication.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier what you like to do is you like to under promise and over deliver. And the under promise part of it isn't a negative. It's actually a great reality to set, because if you over communicate something that's unrealistic and it just doesn't happen, it's going to be a killer for you. It's going to really impact you. How critical is communication, in your opinion, for business growth and survival?
I think it's up there with every relationship you ever have. I mean, you don't talk to your wife or your significant other, you probably are not going to be in that relationship very long. And as I said, trying to understand them or whoever they are, and understand their personality traits, understand how they are in situations. And the only way you're going to do that is that when you jump in with both feet and you get to understand every aspect of them. And like I said earlier, understanding every part of their business is going to be huge in that. But your communication is not just one way. You're just not a talk box that's, you keep talking, and you have to understand that communication consists of listening as well. And in a lot of my meetings, I spend most of my time listening and a little less time jabbering. So that's at least my personal philosophy.
Yeah, great points and takeaways from that last part there. Joe, for people who are looking to get in contact with you, what social media, websites, how do they reach you? How do they find out more about you and especially the importance of Blue?
Yeah. Yeah. We, Blue has his own LinkedIn page. So if you like to follow Blue, feel free. I am not the voice of Blue. So there are people who answer for Blue. So if you ever think it's me, it's not. We have our website at regalindustrial.com. We are on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We have multiple pages on Facebook, not only for Regal Industrial, but for Iron Valley Tank. And we have that page. We have Iron Valley Transport on there as well. And then there's Joe Professori Facebook. And then there's an odd spelling of my name because, believe it or not, Facebook wouldn't give me my own name. So there's another one there. So any of those, you can get us to LinkedIn. We have a big presence on there. We're going to start to putting some video up on LinkedIn and get some live feeds on there as well. So we're very happy with what we're doing in the social media areas, and we'd love you to come down and give us some likes. Give us your thoughts on things. Tell us what you're thinking. We definitely appreciate you following us on LinkedIn, on Regal Industrial on LinkedIn, and any other medias that will start to step into podcast, webinar world. There'll be announcements. You'll start hearing the radio spots coming on Spotify here very shortly, and it's all good right now.
Great. I recommend highly everyone check out Regal Industrial. Follow Joe, follow Blue. Always check back for updates and information, and look for this all the upcoming podcasts, webcasts, and live events and everything like that. It's going to be great, Joe. Thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate it.
No, thank you, Jim. Anytime.
All right. Have a great day.
You too. you.